Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of Limited Edition, a awesome special edition tonight, little Zedrun edition of Limited Edition. I'm Russ Heltman, your host, joined by my co-host, NFT God, Jason over there. He's got the fresh haircut, people. He's ready to roll tonight as we already have 6 guests, and it should be 5 guests in the queue right now. We got Doofy Racing, Poseidon Racing, NFTs Anonymous, Genetic Gambit, and Pony Zook in here tonight to make sure everyone watching completely understands and is up to date on everything Zedrun and all that's happening with that NFT platform. Jason, it's going to be a very fun, interesting show tonight.
Oh yeah, it is. I can't wait for this one. I've been waiting for this for a couple weeks now. We got Doofy and Poseidon, who are they're like number 1 and 2 out of the top 3 to 5 people in all of Zedrun right now. They've been doing it a lot longer than a lot of the Americans have, and they're basically the Australian duo that everybody else is striving to become. And they're here along with some of the other people that have their own stables and are working their own way up, and a couple of the stat guys, and just I don't even know how else to describe these guys. All these guys coming on the show tonight are basically Zedrun. Without these guys, Zedrun would not be anything what it is today. Or I don't mean that, but it wouldn't be the same as it is today. Because there's other great guys.
They're on pace to be Hall of Famers.
For
sure.
What you're saying. For sure. And they're all doing great things. They're coming up with great tools to use for the community. And with that, I'll just leave it to you to lead this discussion.
All right, here we go. Let's bring everyone in now, one by one. We got Doofy Stream. We'll have him go here first, out of Australia, all the way around the globe. He's joining us here, us lowly Americans. Doofy, you joined first. Welcome in, my man. Go ahead and give a quick 20, 30-second rundown of your involvement with Zedrun before we bring in the next guest.
Yeah, too easy. How you going, guys? Thanks for having me on. So I've been involved with Zedrun for about a year. It was always my intention to come in, and I was a little bit, I'm going to use arrogant for lack of a better word. When I came in, I was like, I'm going to take this game over. First day on the Discord channel, I just fell in love with it. I come from horse racing in real life. I love crypto, love technology. It was a perfect combination for me, and it happened at a time where I didn't have a full-time job, so I spent a lot of time racing and digging into data to try and get the best out of my horses.
I love it. All right, here we go. Let's bring in another racer here. Poseidon Racing. He is also joining us from a foreign land. Poseidon Racing, where are you joining us exactly from? I couldn't get a full read.
Mate,
you were quick to get everybody in here into the lobby.
First of all, g'day to everyone. You might notice the Aussie accent. I just live up the road from Doofy almost.
There you go.
Not literally. Australia is a big country. We're probably about 500k away or something like that, I would imagine. But not too far in the overall scheme of things. And as far as my involvement in Zedrun, I think I was here a couple of days before Doofy. You know, we're competitive at everything, aren't we, mate? And I beat you to that one. I don't even know if I did. But
I think you did.
I don't know that I did. But anyway, yeah, we'll say that I'm the winner there. I'll take that one because I don't get many other ones. Now, my background, I got a little bit of a background in gaming, a little bit of background in sports betting. And look, I wanted to play back about 15 years ago. I was right into a game called Golden Tee, which a few of you guys over there may have heard of. And I had a lot of mates over in the US. Golden Tee was a online golf game, essentially. And I went to a few world championships over in the States, and they were all raving about this horse breeding game. And I can't think of what the name was, but it must have been one of the first. And I've always wanted to play it. And I just happened to be researching NFT games and came across, I just Google searched NFT horse breeding game. And I was like, hallelujah, here we go. So I ended up just lucking into being one of the first, I suppose, really engaged players here, along with Doofy himself there. So other than that, welcome everyone.
There you go. He's in here. Poseidon Racing, Doofy Racing here on Limited Edition. The Zedrun Roundtable with your host, Russ Heltman, and NFT God. And NFTs Anonymous. I almost called him Alcoholic Anonymous when we welcome him into the studio, but he is in the lobby, people. He's here to join us. NFTs Anonymous, your backstory with Zedrun.
So actually, I was only introduced to Zedrun around 2 weeks ago, and really fascinating. You know, I came from some other NFT communities, and through the people I met in those communities, I found them. They were actually introduced to Zedrun first. They participated in the most recent mega drop that we had, and they were having a blast. You know, they had 5 horses, 7 horses, and they weren't even racing all of them, and they were still just having so much fun. And FOMO kicked in, right? Fear of missing out. So I actually ended up getting a horse above retail. It was a Z7 Finney Genesis, and its name was Tanqueray. And this horse went 7 for 14 in its first, 7 wins in its first 14 races.
Oh, wow.
Which apparently is nearly unheard of, especially for what's not considered, a Z1, Z2 Nakamoto, that rare blood in the game. So I hyped, as this horse as much as I could in the community. And I was talking with Doofy, I was talking with Poseidon, seeing if they would buy my horse. And eventually I did find a seller that, in fact, ended up being someone I continued to talk with afterwards. Through that, with one other person that will be coming on here, we developed Dream Team Breeders, which is a community organization, and we're really excited for the potential of Zedrun as a whole and just growing this community out together.
I love it. If people are listening and not understanding some of the key words he said right there, we're going to be getting and describing all of that stuff. Thank you, NFTs Anonymous. Love the backstory right there. Genetic Gambit. I love these names tonight. These are fantastic. So creative. Genetic Gambit in the studio, in the queue. GG. I'm going to call you GG. I don't know if I can. That's going to be a lot of Genetic Gambits I have to get out in these next 90 minutes or so. What's the backstory with you and Zedrun, GG?
So I was basically just looking for a play-to-earn crypto game in January, and I did a bit of a Google search surrounding that. I stumbled onto Axes. I tried that for a few days, didn't really like it, and then I got into Zedrun and absolutely fell in love with it from the get-go. I was introduced to these guys, and we started forming this community, based around like the idea of decentralized ownership over the racetracks and other elements of the game ecosystem, and it's kind of just rolled from there.
I love it. I love it. Genetic Gambit, everyone. He is going to be very active in tonight's chat, as is everyone in the queue right now. Let's add in Pony Zook here. PZ. We're going to go with GG and PZ. Pony Zook, your backstory with the Zedrun platform.
I just have an addiction to watching virtual horses run fast. And I loved it from the very first moment I watched it. And never in my life have I really just taken the chance to go for something. And I said, hey, maybe other people will want to listen to me call these races. So I started calling some of these races, and I feel like it created an atmosphere around the races that maybe aren't there when you're just watching it with the monotonous music that plays while the races are going on. So I've teamed up with Stanley Studios, Lucky Jack, Doofy, who's here, and we have the Pony Plug now, which was the first, but definitely not the only or the best stream that calls the races on Friday nights. But like I said, there's tons of other people. There's Tish. There's my buddy Ian Fleming. There's a bunch of people in the community that are coming up to call these races. And I feel like that's super important because, as I said at the beginning, it brings another life to these races. And when you hear the names of these horses constantly being said out loud, it gives this life to them that they do become these star athletes and creatures that people are going to know and love. And you already see that people are starting to follow horses that aren't even theirs. I can tell you that Zombie Boy, a horse that isn't mine, is my second favorite horse on the platform. And I have 12 horses. So that means I like that horse more than 11 of my own. There's horses like Vanilla Bean. There's horses like Gun for Hire. There's tons of horses that are creating their own story starting today. And I'm just happy to be a small piece of that origin story as it begins.
Fantastic. So all these names of these horses, it's just going to keep getting better and better. Pony Zook, he's the voice of Zedrun in the making, people. The voice of Zedrun in the making. Zed Gazette, our final guest in the queue right now. We all kind of get the backstory with Zed Gazette, one of the leading blog sources around Zedrun at the moment. But Zed Gazette, go ahead and inform us about how you got so involved with Zedrun in its current form. Zed Gazette, I think you might be muted a little bit.
Don't tell him it's better when he's like this.
You there, Zed? Nope. All right, Zed, if you can fix the audio issues, we'll go ahead and get you back in for your intro. But everyone, once again, welcome into tonight's roundtable. I'm going to kind of just open it up to our first two guests here with a backstory on Zedrun. You guys have been involved a long time, over a year at this point, right? Our Aussie compatriots in Doofy Racing and Poseidon Racing. For people that are in this live stream watching right now that don't have a horse, that don't have an account, what is the sales pitch that you would make to them, and what is Zedrun in a nutshell? We'll start with Poseidon Racing.
Real quick before they answer this question, everybody over here in the chat, if you guys, I'm going to be writing down your questions, and I'll be asking them when they're done with all this. All right. So keep going with your questions over here, and you have a chance to have them answered in a little bit. All right, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're in here watching this and you haven't yet bought a horse, and this is your first day, then I think you're in a pretty lucky position, to be honest, because this is something special. Not only is it an incredible game and like multifaceted, you got the racing, which is what you get introduced to first, which is a hell of a lot of fun, and particularly when your horses win. And look, you might not have that experience till I think I took about 30 races before I got my first win. So that seemed like forever, but extremely lucky. You've got racing, breeding, then all the other subsets that are coming in, different ways of sort of joining the community and adding value to the community. But the biggest thing for me, before I discovered Zedrun, I was looking for something that was going to be high yield for my crypto. And look, I'm not a financial advisor, so don't take this as financial advice. But when you really look deeply into the fundamentals of this game and what kind of income the horses can produce potentially from the initial investment that you're going to pay for those horses, let's keep in mind these horses are currently, if nothing else changes, they are infinite, they live forever and can breed forever. So it's just mind-blowing what the potential of maybe just a fairly small investment into one of these horses could be over the long run, for sure. Now, as I said, I'm not a financial advisor. And look, I'll just add one more little thing to that. If you are looking to buy your first horse, you're probably going to get a dud. Everyone buys a dud. It's like the initiation into Zedrun is to buy a bad horse and lose a lot. But, buy a really cheap horse, have a bit of fun racing and losing and do that kind of thing. And then next drop, whenever that happens to be, try and get yourself a hold of a Genesis or two, because I just think in the long run, there's only 38,000 roughly, I think, Genesis horses. And give this game another 6 or 12 months, you might see 1 million, 2 million, 5 million horses in the ecosystem. So the percentage terms of the collectability alone on the Genesis is going to go through the roof, in my humble opinion.
Doofy, anything else to add there, especially around Genesis horses in particular? What is the backstory on this?
Yeah, not a lot to add. I look at Zed as beyond a game now, beyond just digital horse racing. It's an industry, in my opinion. And what's going to be happening is it's going to be taking on the real life horse racing industry. And what we'll start to see evolve throughout the platform as we look into the future is all of these different industries within industries popping up. I do this full time now. I'm a digital horse trainer. I've got people helping me. I've got my wife who's helping me sell horses now, my salesman. saleswoman. I've got a couple of other guys that are helping me with like content creation, social media. It's creating jobs. And once that sort of starts to happen, it moves from beyond just a game that's sort of fun to hang around and sort of shoot the shit. And it actually creates jobs for people and creates wealth. So that's what I think about it. In terms of Genesis horses, look, absolutely. There's limited supply. They're always going to be like the first edition horse, those sort of halo cards, whatever you want to call it. These are the sparkly, shiny horses in the game. They range from Z1 through to Z10, and they have 4 different bloodlines. So Nakamoto, Zabo, Finny, and Buterin. There's a heap of content out there on what those horses mean and how many. I know on Z Gazette, it actually tells you how many of each Z level are going to be released out of the 38,000. So definitely try and get yourself a couple of these horses to either race or hold on to, or, you know, for the future. I think the future of the game is that these horses will eventually retire. Most of them will. And the bred horses will, in generations down, start to outrun these race horses. At the moment, they sort of dominate the competition in some capacity. There's a few bred horses that are definitely competing with them at this level. But I do believe that as we go 5, 10, 20 generations into this game, and a generation being when you breed a horse, then you'll start to unlock the future of the game and these future fast races. So, get some Genesis horse, breed, do some testing, and just sort of you need to have a whole range of strategy, I think, when you're coming in.
Right. So NFTs Anonymous, I noticed you brought up the relationship with some of the guys in the room that you were talking about. What has that been like? And especially Pony Zook, it seems like similar to all these other NFT communities, they're exploding, they're burgeoning, everybody's welcoming each other together, and it's kind of creating a tidal wave and creating a job wave as well, like Doofy just mentioned with his ability to do this full time, and a lot of people's ability to go dive fully into the space.
Yeah, I mean, it's really quite incredible, especially like you said, as being a part of other NFT communities in the very recent past. And, you know, I still participate in a lot of them. There's something different about Zed, and it comes down to 2 things, in my opinion. One is the utility of the NFT itself. You know, not only can you race these for the entertainment or the potential monetary value, right? But you also have the ability to breed them. And there's so many different possibilities and strategies, as, you know, Doofy had said, as far as breeding is concerned. And just the utility alone of what these horses can do for a stable owner is really incredible. And then the other aspect of it is a lot of us, if not all of us, have been through other NFT communities. So we have learned what makes a good NFT product and also what makes a good NFT community or ecosystem. And so I think a lot of us are just trying to be proactive with our approach to how we onboard new users, what type of behavior and rhetoric we try to encourage with each other. And through that, I see Zedrun having a really bright future that a lot of us, we can't even comprehend how far this could potentially go. We're talking about what I deem to be the first professional sports league of the metaverse. And we mentioned virtual racetracks and these top tier horses that are going to potentially retire, potentially, dominate and become almost like icons, athletes. They're going to create their own following. They already are. Tucky Malin has its own, emote for Doofy's Twitch, and it's awesome. And we want to see more of that. So it's really cool that the community is working together to promote this, and we really are trying to be proactive of how we expand and scale this platform.
Fantastic stuff. Zed Gazette, can you hear us now? Were we able to work out the mic issues?
Yeah, I had to move to the iPad, I think.
Right there you go. Yeah. iPad magic right here. Zed Gazette, go ahead and tell the people a little bit about your voice, your platform with the Zedrun blog, and what led you to down this path with this NFT community?
I've always been a crypto guy for over a decade now, hanging out with Black Bart Roberts on the Silk Road back in the day, paying 30 Bitcoin for, an ounce of something. But it is a long time from that, but I've always tried to keep an eye out for what projects are coming up. And if you look at the background of what Zed, what bags are behind it, if you're going to have, the likes of Mark Cuban, Atari, Unicorn, all these good guys showing up, then I'm going to think that's a good decision too, right? Same way I follow what is Binance doing, right? What is Coinbase investing in, right? You follow the people that are right most of the time because, you don't have to be if they are. And when it comes to this game, I didn't think it was going to blow up this fast. I thought I had a little bit more time to stack some articles and just kind of like lay them out there. But, Zed became Zed as we know it before we anticipated it, I think all of us. So I'm just trying to get enough articles out there to keep the community, participating on the same level as everyone else. It's kind of my goal, right? It started off with, where is all the information? Oh, there's not that much. And then I was like, all right, let's give it to them.
There you go. So what right now do you think is the biggest story or the biggest theme going on in Zedrun at the moment?
Bottlenecks, right? We're all buying on a diminishing supply. So if we're just doing that, then price is going to keep going up. And that's why I have a really hard time selling horses right now, because I know I paid $30 to breed it. I don't want to charge someone $300, right? My horses may be a little bit, they're not very good, the ones I made in my family trees of inbreeding. But if you get to get those horses and participate in the inbreeding trees, there is value to that, right? But I don't even want to charge people for that right now. That's why I just want to give the horses away.
Anybody have a comment on that? Poseidon?
Just unmute myself there. Yeah, I think that's a really important point, and something that I've been really considering lately is, particularly for the bigger stables like maybe myself and Doofy, where we have a lot of genesis and have the ability to breed a lot of horses. I think what we really need to do is make sure that we don't take all the money off the table as far as breeding is concerned, because, if we set our prices at the highest prices they can be, and then those people buy and they can't make any money down the line, then we kind of kill the game real quickly. So we have to be careful. We don't want to drop the prices of the entire market as well, but maybe behind closed doors, we can set up relationships with resellers or something to, give someone else a little bit of an in into the market, so that, more than a small percentage of people can make money on the way down. So if we take, for example, we breed, as ZG said, for $30 and we sell for, the horse's value might be $500, sell that horse on to someone else for $300, and then they can make a little bit of money on that as well as they go down the line. It's really important that as large a possible percentage of people can make money from this, because if it's just one or two people doing it, it'll suck all the life out of the game really quick, I think.
No doubt. So switching gears a little bit here, I want to get Genetic Gambit in the fold. Dream Team Racing. Just tell the audience a little bit about that, how that came together, and what that entails in terms of the relationship with Zedrun itself and that kind of racing team you built.
Okay, so like Gazette was just saying, the game just blew up faster than any of us could have imagined in the last couple of months. A major fear of mine when I heard, like Ebbs, for example, talk about the idea of track ownership and things like that, is that a lot of the smaller stables just won't be able to afford that sort of ETH. And the advantage that Wales have in playing the game in terms of like the DES governance. And so my way of thinking was that, if we can get all of these different aspects of the community to band together, we've basically got the weight of a whale between us in the game. So, it started from there, and then we started looking around and seeing all the different analytical tools being offered in different areas. And then it sort of became, well, let's make a one-stop shop for all of this. And, we're working on creating a dashboard where people can basically just plug in at different subscription levels and access different levels of data analytics tools. I have to be kind of probably a little bit tight-lipped for now on exactly what is being developed, but that was the core idea of it. From there, it was NFT Anonymous's idea that we should be spreading out into race teams and things like that. The way we figure it is that if you monetize the track through sponsorships and through small rakes, events, all the normal sort of stuff you'd associate with running that sort of business, we're looking at a pretty comfortable sort of return, even spread them out, just several hundred people, I think. So.
Right. And speaking of the expansion of Zedrun and adding different voices, different investors, Atari obviously coming in, you got big names throwing around big money here. What do you guys think? I'm just leaving this open to the round table, and you guys can bounce around with it. I'm welcoming everyone to answer this one if they'd like to. What is the next big step for this platform? We saw the big kind of spike a little bit in March. Things have tailed off a tiny bit, and we'll see what happens going into these summer months. But with the backing of Atari, with all these different avenues that you can create revenue, how do you guys see this thing playing out maybe over the next 6 to 12 months as they continue their growth into 2021?
I think that we need to view Zed as its own sphere compared to virtually human studios, right? That's the parent company, the umbrella that created Zed. And Zed can easily be applicable to other games using the genetic algorithm that they're using, right? As long as it's proven and provably fair, who's to say greyhounds or monster races even is next? Like, how do you say what can be next within the ecosystem that they're developing? And that
right, you mean like monster truck and greyhound, like dogs, like virtual greyhound dogs, something like that?
You could make like crypto kitty racing, basically, yeah. Right? You could make anything as long as it adhered to the same GA and the same parameters of color, and it can be easily applicable to so many other areas, right? It's a very unique situation to be so 3 years into it, but still at the forefront, right? Because they put so much work into this 3 years to make sure that this works, that now they can take this and apply it to other situations, for sure, right? When it comes to what I think is coming in the next 12 years, it's 12 months is the DAO, right? The DAO is the biggest thing, which involves DES being dropped, and DES, to have a decentralized authoritarian, right, all that nonsense, the DAO, you have to have staking. Staking is key to the voting system of a DAO ecosystem. And that's what Matic brings into the entire possibility of what Zed can be. So when it comes to what I'm expecting, let the horses run free. Let us vote with the DAO. And let's see what kind of tournaments we can really come up with after Atari.
Anybody else?
I think the biggest thing in the short term, and Atari's going to lead the way with this, is the stakes races. When you start bringing in sponsorship, when you start bringing in betting platforms, when you start bringing in people, companies with money, that's going to sort of bring the racing pools in line with the costs of the horses at the moment. There's a little bit of a discrepancy there right now, just being that the horse values have just absolutely soared. I don't know what the word is there. This year, in the past couple of months, the racing pools and the availability to sort of make back your ETH is getting more and more sort of distant in terms of just the racing ability. I think the biggest pool that we have right now is $600 USD in a class 1. I mean, if you remember Poseidon back in the day, we were racing for more than that with the couple of hundred of us kicking around for like $1,200 prize pools, you know. There were more risk, obviously, but when you start bringing in companies to add value and they start having headline head-to-heads, you know, Ducky Malin versus Baroque, Grandeur versus Revenue, what is it? Ronder's Peak? Revenue Peak?
Rendezvous Peak.
Rendezvous Peak. When you start having these horses that sort of excel at a certain distance and you create a week-long tournament out of head-to-head races and it's sponsored by companies and they're actually paying the owners of these horses to enter their horses into the races for free, essentially, and they're going to win money in Ethereum. That's the short-term game, I think. And I think we're not far away. Once Atari's sorted, I have no idea how long that's going to take. That was announced months ago now. But I know that they're creating like a mini tournament where every single week you essentially enter a race that's an Atari race, and you essentially you pay to get in that one, and then the winners of that, from my understanding, what I've heard so far, is the winners of those races in each class will then go on to a race at the end of the week, which is you actually get a ticket to enter, and you win. I don't know if it's Atari token or what it is, but you win like money in that race for nothing if you were to take the championship race. So that's where the future of racing is going, and I think that's we're pretty close.
Pony Zook, I asked kind of what the future for Zedrun holds, but how is Pony Zook trying to join along or tag along with the growth and create your own growth in the meantime?
Well, I'm pretty lucky that the vertical in which I decided to have fun with Zed is one that I don't have to worry about the future. I just have to worry about, is there races that are loading in the next 30 minutes? And that makes it super fun and easy for me. And everything they're talking about is, yeah, if we want the game to get where we want it to get to, that is the most important stuff. I live a life where I don't let myself think that far too down the road about certain things. So I enjoy the excitement of the 2 minutes from the time the horses leave the gate, if they leave the gate, knock on wood, to when they cross the finish line. And I think that that's the tip of the iceberg in terms of Zed in general. But the tip of the iceberg tends to be what people see and what draws in people. So I think that although the breeding, all the other stuff, the genetic algorithm, that's all the important stuff if you want to be long-term successful in this game. The racing is going to be what gets a lot of people in the door. Watching your friend win a race and watching him jump up and down because the horse crossed the finish line first is going to be what makes you then want to go buy a horse yourself and then worry about all the other things. But it could be as simple as just getting a horse and learning how to place it in 3 races at once. And that's all you need the platform to be. There's so many other things, the teams, the tournaments, the sponsorships, and that's great. And I hope to be a part of that because there is a spot for that. But in the metaverse, I think we want to build the play sets for everyone. And I'm looking forward to calling those races for the people on a Friday night that haven't maybe raced their horses during the week and just use it as a family event on Friday nights to just sit around and watch their horse run. And that's why I love fostering a community where everyone loves everyone. That's why I hope that on the Pony Plug, when it's me, Doofy, LJ, and Stanley, we have a fun-loving and exciting community because I want to act as excited for your horse as you are when it's crossing the finish line because I know how good that feeling feels. And I know that some people that I'm close with on the platform are coming to this metaverse, down on their luck in the real world and maybe forgotten about and have had a hard time. And they're now building themselves a new identity. And that makes me feel super cool. And it makes me feel like I have a responsibility to make it grow, to make it last, because I want them to have the feelings that Zed is giving them forever.
Gotta love that. You gotta love that. Some family fun in the family room at the little night at the racetrack right there. Little night at the racetrack. So Two things I want to throw out at you guys: jockeys and also horses staying alive forever. Where do you guys stand on those two topics? Should they add the jockeys? Should they require horses to die? I'll kind of toss that out to the group.
Yeah, I'll jump in there first and give it a no vote for jockeys, and I'll tell you why. I mean, jockeys, it sounds like an interesting concept, but at the moment, Zed has this beautiful balance between simplicity and relatively easy entry, as in when you get in there, you can pretty much buy a horse and throw it in a race, and you can see by that race whether or not your horse is good or not. And I think that nice balance of simplicity needs to be maintained. As soon as we start adding, look, we already know they're probably going to add things like fatigue, box selection or box preference or gate preference, country preference and weather preference, these types of things. So the game will get slightly more complex anyway, but if you need to give the jockey instructions or you need a specific jockey, I think it's going to get too complex for my opinion there.
Just feels like another barrier of entry, right?
Yeah, it's another thing you need to learn. And at the moment, like there's people coming in now and they're seeing this barrage of information already, and they're already thinking, wow, this game's it's great, but it's too complex. When you actually get down to it and look at it in, 3 or 4 or 5 steps, the racing part is relatively simple, I suppose. But if you start adding, all these different preferences and jockeys and the ability to, put blinkers on your horse or special shoes or who knows what it's going to be. In the beginning, I thought that was a great idea, but the more I think about it, it needs to be kept. The racing aspect needs to be kept relatively simple, and then the complexity is in the breeding. Okay, that can be as complex as you like because that's where it really gets into the nitty gritty. But the racing is the draw in, the little bit to get everyone in. And if you really want to get into the deep stuff, then look at the inbreeding and the different styles of breeding and, crossbreeding and this and that for sure, I think. What was the second half of the question? I forgot. I got too much into the first half.
Before we go on to the second half, I just want to sort of add something to that as well on the jockeys. What's great about this is that it is so far from real life racing, and jockeys play a big part in real life. They play probably too much of a part, in my opinion. And, coming from someone with ties to the industry and everything else and horse ownership, I love the fact that there's no jockeys. I would like the ability for the owner to have or the trainer to have a bit more access to I don't know what it is and how to do this, but my thoughts in the past have been, if you have a horse that likes to come from behind, you can you can select whether they sort of break early or break late. So you give a little bit of power there to the trainer in that sense. When they introduce things in the very far future, like round tracks, gate selection is going to become even more important. You're going to need to do a bit more research into what gate your horse is jumping out of and what's around it, whether that horse likes to go forward or come back or come, from the middle, because there's going to be that opportunity for that horse to get boxed in those scenarios, like in real life. So when you start adding all of these other things, the jockeys it doesn't need to be involved. If you started adding something, just simply keep it to the horses. The horses look great. You don't need this little cartoon figure sitting on top of it. And if you were to go around a round track, pick the gate selection that you want, give an option of, a leader or a pacer or a midfield, and then sort of control the race a little bit that way as a trainer. I think that's as far as it needs to go, in my opinion.
I agree with everyone here, but just to, give Rahul Sood, the CEO of Unicorn, his shout, because I think he's the biggest fan of the jockeys being a thing. Just giving an influence to the gambling aspect of it, right? It does give a certain depth to how are you going to, pick the horses you're choosing in a race compared to how have jockeys been leased out to the horses that are running? Because that would be the opportunity of jockeys, right?
Yeah.
So for Rahul, looking on the gambling aspect of it, like jockeys would be key, right? He's in charge of that for the team with Unicorn and someone with a Cuban name, but but that's what the jockeys I view more than anything, because it's easily implementable. right? If you look at the F1 Formula Racing game, it's just a dynamic of how aerodynamic are they without this jockey, without this, with this jockey. How does the veering work on these turns? What kind of force do they put into being on the inside lane? All that can be calculated. So it's fully within the grasp of the game. But I do agree with everyone that it is, the original intent was it's a horse racing game. It's a breeding game. And that doesn't require jockeys, but it is implementable, right?
And then what was the second part here? Oh yeah, the horse's lifespan. What is the back? Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Horses don't die, right? They're living forever right now.
I think you should view it as buying the entire cost of a horse's lifetime in the upfront purchase, right? I put an article about like how much does it cost to own a racehorse, annually. It's $40,000. So if you're paying 32 to 40 right now up front for the lifetime of a never-ending horse, that's not a bubble, right? We have the beginning genetics of something that is going to be outliving us, something that we can pass down to our kids in a will, like a house, but the house doesn't burn down in the wrong wind. This is an upfront purchase of a lifetime expense of an animal that doesn't die.
Yeah, so within the DTB network, we actually have a few people that own horses, and that's kind of what is so attractive to them about Zedrun is that they understand, like Gazette just said, horse ownership. And I mean, you said, I think one of them you're actually befriending, right? Is Casey Jones. You said that you guys have had a chance to hang out, and it's really cool that exactly, yeah, and it's really cool that those types of relationships are being made where it's not only your NFT people or your your quote unquote degenerate gamblers, right? No, this is attracting people from all different realms, people that believe in decentralization and these decentralized universes, as well as people that have a real life attachment to horse racing.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm gonna be in Vegas in July, giving a speech to a bunch of cowboys about why they should have some digital horses, right? I feel that coming for sure. Right, that's on the horizon.
I love it. So we're two thumbs down on the lifespans and the jockeys. I like it. All right, let's go ahead and open it up to some questions from the community here. Jason, you have been perusing through, and if you want to pop it onto the screen for everyone to see, go ahead and do it if you got them all marked. But I'll turn it over to here for this portion of the show.
All right. Here's one that came up a lot. It came basically Carlos and Fire FC. They have a lot of questions about the cost of the horses. A lot of people answer their questions. It's going to be cheaper to buy a horse for a Genesis in the drop than it will be on the secondary. But they also had a question about the next drop. Do you guys have any insight in how the next drop's going to work different from the last one? Isn't it going to be on a different system?
The next drop's going to be on Matic, which is the whole migration process we're going through right now to make sure that the transactions are instantaneous and the gas prices that people kind of had to swallow last time for not making the purchases on the horses they were attempting to, that won't be a thing, right? There's confirmation from the Zed team that we're going to be moved to Polygon/Matic. Transactions are going to be instantaneous and they're going to be gasless. So even if you don't purchase the horse you're reaching for, you're not going to lose $30 to $100, right? You're going to maybe lose 3 cents, and Zed's going to pay it because that's how this platform's been built.
All right, so it's not going to be the same way as last time then, where like I was lucky enough to get 2 horses. There were Z9s, and I was just click, and I finally got one, and then I didn't speed up my gas, and therefore I didn't get it. But then I did for the next 2, and I got it. That's not going to be part of it this time.
No, because gas is a function of Ethereum network. Gas is the money that's paid to miners just like how people do Bitcoin mining and Ethereum mining, that's what they get paid for, is the transaction processes that are undertaken by the network. And since we're not going to be on Ethereum network, but on Matic, which is a layer 2 on top of Ethereum to get rid of gas prices, you'll just have to pay the gas prices when you move your Matic over to the Zed wallet that single time. And that will be the end of you having to pay gas prices within the platform, hopefully. Right.
All right. So how do you
gasless, racing should be gasless, everything should be gasless.
How do you buy Matic? How do you buy coins on that?
Oh, well, you don't. NFT God has.
No, I know the answer to most of these questions, but you guys on a panel, I'm going to ask you. These are questions people are asking.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. It's a very valid question. That's why I smile, because NFT God has had me make a little website that's pretty terrible with some red circles. But you know, it's a process, and as unfortunate as it is, we're all in that learning curve right now, and I don't want anyone to be dispelled by the difficulty of Zed, because it's going to get easier as time goes. But right now, we're still in dial-up when we should be in broadband. But the best process is to go to MetaMask, download either the app or the browser plugin. After you've done that, register on Zedrun, zed.run, click start, register with your MetaMask, and then your email, not email first. And then you're easily able to deposit from your MetaMask to your Zed balance, and that will all be wrapped ETH. Let's not get complicated on that, because that will make a whole longer week for me next week, or whenever drop happens. But you know, that's the best process. Connect your MetaMask to the Zed website, deposit to your Zed balance, and go from there.
Do you see an opportunity for, similar to previous NFT platforms that we're familiar with, a way for people to get involved directly with a credit card, as opposed to necessarily needing to go through MetaMask, buying through a platform like Wire? Do you see a way that, similar to some of the other NFT platforms, we can introduce more people to NFTs and crypto with the credit card system?
Yeah, I think the credit card system, the problem with the credit card system is not so much with the actual processing of the transaction. It's about the interstate commerce aspect of processing cryptocurrency purchases over state lines. Ethereum is much easier. Matic, purchasing on Matic is so brand new that interstate commerce and dealing with the government is going to be so difficult, right? I don't even know how the credit card, because Matic is a company based in India, right? It's a chain based in India. They're having their own regulatory issues there. There's a huge amount of regulatory issues going into credit card purchases and interstate commerce within the United States. So that is a big hindrance.
All right, I cut out there. Sorry.
I think it's going to be more beneficial for anyone to learn a very small sort of element of what cryptocurrency is, because whilst you might be able to buy, and you used to be able to buy your horses with credit card and an email, and it was easy to do it that way, it created so many more problems in the future of how do you sell that horse if you want to sell it? How do you breed that horse if you want to breed it? These are all things that have to be done within the Matic network now. So whilst it's a little bit of a learning curve, I have created a video. I did just drop it in the YouTube on how to set up your stable with MetaMask. I actually went through, I created a MetaMask account. I did all of that. It's a 10 to 15 minute learning curve. Get out of cryptocurrency. I was speaking to my brother-in-law yesterday, who's heavily into horse racing. And he's like, I just don't get it. I just don't get technology. I'm like, forget the fact that it's technology and crypto. It's horse racing. Like, just take it back to its bare bones. And 10 to 15 minutes of learning how to do this will make your life so much easier in the future. And you don't need to learn the whole cryptocurrency ecosystem. I don't understand it. I have no interest in understanding it. Very blinkers on into what this is. So
yeah, and from what he said earlier, I my thing all cut out before he finished. But if you're gonna buy ETH, or actually Bitcoin, if you buy ETH, you want to buy from probably what Coinbase first. If you buy Bitcoin and transfer it, you probably want to start at Cash App because then you don't have to wait 5 or 7 days, and you'll get it within like what an hour before you could transfer it to MetaMask. Those are just my comments on that part.
Yeah,
A lot of times,
there's a lot of different ways to get cryptocurrency.
I was talking about the cheapest ways.
My preferred way is crypto.com, the app. If you go into your app store and you download crypto.com, in the States, I was approved in 15 minutes and buying crypto and sending it to my wallet in 20. Right? There was no time in between. The withdrawal time.
What were the fees on that?
The first 5 transactions were non-fees, and after that, it's 3.5%. If you're using credit card, and if you're doing ACH,
credit card,
it's no fees.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it depends on the country that you're in. Like in Australia, I use SwiftX. It's no fees to deposit money into SwiftX. I think it's like 50 grand a daily limit. My limit is, so it's huge. And like to buy it, it's like a 0.6% fee. Like you just have to do a little bit of research into your own country, or I don't know if someone has, maybe ZG, you have this on your website, different country where to buy it. Coinbase is expensive and it has all these other issues, but I mean, crypto.com works here as well in Australia. SwiftX, there's all these ones that you can get in for next to no fees.
Binance.
Right.
Yeah, well, my bank.
A lot of fun is simpleswap.io. So you can use a trustless swap space. So if you can just buy Bitcoin wherever you are, you can trade Bitcoin for any cryptocurrency without an exchange at whatever the rate is, and they'll send it to your wallet. So if you go to
it's like Uniswap,
like Uniswap, but multi-chain.
Okay.
Right, because Uniswap is just Ethereum, ERC20 tokens.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really deal with all the crypto stuff. I just deal with the NFTs, and I know the quickest way to get those.
Well, just think of Bitcoin and Ethereum.
But
as their
I'm gonna
own
check out this crypto here. The thing is, I have 2 banks. Well, my bank blocks a lot of this stuff. It won't even let me. It just blocks half the things I try to buy. It doesn't matter. I have a local bank, and I have. Really? All right. All right. Here's another question. This one's just for Poseidon. There's 2 people that asked this now, so you're gonna have to explain what this means.
Oh yeah, I'm dressed. Got me jacket on. Yeah, I'm looking good.
Colored hair.
Yeah. I got a bit of the product. No. Oh, he's just having a land.
I don't know what that even means.
He's just having a land.
I don't know what that means, but
Poseidon's looking good today. That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying.
I'm usually a dag, Well, this was pretty daggy, I got my tie-dye and my daggy jacket, but obviously it's a step up from normal.
Daisy, I like it.
All right, I have a couple more that I wrote down. I have.
How about this from Ben? This was this was funny when I saw this come up. What do you guys think of them making the currency and calling it glue on the site? That would be a little too facetious.
I think there's something beyond the joke there that there could be an opportunity to burn horses or send them to the glue factory, which gives you some sort of other currency or token that you can save up to then do something with. Look, very early ideas, but I've got that many horses.
I like it.
I'm not going to sell because they're crap. I'm not going to give them to anyone else. I'm not really doing much with them. So, I mean, like, send them to the glue factory, burn the NFT, reduce the amount of horses we have on the network, and get some sort of reward. Maybe you can buy a visual, skin with all of your glue. I don't know, something fun.
Oh, there you go.
So my thoughts on the burning the tokens is that, that would be fully okay as long as we're not burning Genesis horses, because we can't afford to have those gaps in our overall breeding program. And secondly, if we burn non-Genesis horses, we need a little burn ticker next to the name that shows that it's It's no longer available to be used in the game, but the genetic linkage is still in the trees. Other than that, I mean, yeah, let's burn some horses.
All right. Someone asked, I'll just say this. Someone asked, what's a step below Genesis? That's legendary. When you have 2 Genesis make another horse, it's a legendary. Here's one that probably all you guys can give an answer to.
Okay, I'll jump in first on this one because I was just expanding on what Doofy said earlier. It's tournaments, like big tournaments where you have multi-heats. Think about a big poker tournament where you've got all the satellites and it might be $5 entry for everyone, but you've got 32 satellite events or something like that, times 12, and they all, every time you race, they go by half. So the top 6 go through and the top 6 go through and the top 6 go through. Then the interesting facet about that is horses like some of the best horses in the game, like Ducky Malone and a few others that are first last. Unfortunately, they're not going to be the best horses for that scenario. It's more going to be the horses that are 2nd to 6th slot or 2nd to 8th slot that are going to probably keep progressing through these heats. It's going to be really interesting. The types of horses you might enter there may not be the same awesome horses that do really well in a single race. But, I mean, that's going to be absolutely epic in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll echo that. That's my biggest. I'm so excited for these tourneys. And it is going to sort of bring back some fairness to the horses that are more consistent. Like my horse, Enormo, is going to absolutely kill tournaments. It's consistently 2nd and 3rd, very rarely outside that. Having said that, Ducky just went on a massive run yesterday. I think she won like 8 races. So depending on the time. But it's going to be, I reckon these tourneys are going to be huge. And the customs races that I think are coming pretty soon. They need to do a little bit of research. So thinking about, how having a professional record and a rookie record or something like that. But being able to set up these custom races and have 1v1s or getting 12 mates or 12 people on the stream to come into the one race and just race for glory, race for pinks if you want, race your family on a Friday night. I know LJ he was at a holiday just recently, Lucky Jack. And he sat there with his cousins, gave them all a horse, and they entered them all in a race and just raced for glory. And that's what it's going to be about. That's what this game is going to just have so many more elements coming into it in the future.
Wait, did you just say race for pink slips?
Yeah, race for pink slips.
No,
let's get 12 horses with pink slips in there in a smart contract, and the winner takes all.
You better be certain of that horse, man. Wow.
I'm down to 1% on my iPad, but I heard Ebbs was in the lobby. Is he coming?
Oh, is he? I'll wait to bring him in.
All right, if I die, I'll be back with my charger, maybe.
Okay.
Hey, let Ebbs handle it, though.
What's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. I'll add Russ in. Hey, Russ, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Let me just put my I just wanted to come in and say I got an invite all of a sudden this morning in my inbox, and I was like, what's this for? I can't remember if I signed up for this, but I just wanted to say hi to everybody. How you going?
Hello, Abs. Nice to meet you.
There's a few faces. Poseidon, I haven't met you personally, Poseidon, so this is our personal encounter.
Hey, how you doing? Good to see you.
How you doing, mate? It's good to see a local Aussie.
Yeah,
Doofy and Zed, Tony, I love all your work. So Russ and Genetic Gambit and NFT God and NFT Anonymous, I guess you guys are new to me, and well, I've seen your work on Twitter Sphere. And how are you all going? Are you enjoying the product? And
love it. I love it.
Fantastic, man. Thanks for coming on. So this is Chris Ebeling, everyone.
Yeah.
He is the Virtual Human co-founder, and he is one of the big voices behind all this that we're talking about right now, this entire Zedrun platform. Ebs, can you go ahead and just give kind of a quick backstory real quick on how you guys came up with this idea and a comment on the growth that you've seen since 2019? It has exploded, especially in the past few months.
Yeah, no doubt. So, the backstory is, Zed, the brainchild of Zed is really Chris Laurent. It's the other Chris. He came up with this fascinating idea of, democratizing horse racing ownership. I think the story goes he was standing at a pub one day or at the races, and he was looking at the race and seeing everybody getting excited about, you know, betting on horses. And he was looking up in the box seats and seeing what would it feel like owning a horse. And, you know, then seeing in Australia, there's a huge, you know, digital movement in the horse racing industry. You know, there's only certain amount of horse race events a year. You know, it takes time to get the horses ready, blah, 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 blah. So they've created this whole digital industry, which where people can just go and bet on digital horses. So Chris had the idea, you know, CryptoKitties was big at the time, and, you know, you could breed these digital cats and make other digital cats, which was amazing. And he just put two and two together, really. You know, what if you could have an NFT horse and own it and breed it and race it and just have that whole, you know, utility around the ownership of an NFT digital asset. Me and Chris and Rob go way back. So I think Chris and Rob started the venture on their own. They just made up some horses and sold them just to see if people were interested, and they did.
You had to bring in
and
Jeff.
So yeah, and then me and Jeff came along. It would have been maybe a year later or so. Like, I was introduced actually half a year before, but I was busy with my current endeavors. But I got introduced to it and thought it was an awesome idea. So we put some pitch decks together. We got some concepts together. You know, we came up with the design, the 3-dimensional design of the horse. That's when I came in. They already had the horse you see on OpenSea at the moment.
Yes.
That really flat, boring looking thing still has the design aesthetics that Zed is. So that's awesome. But I got brought on. My background's film, animation, and games. So and creative in that space. So I got brought in to kind of amplify that and bring that out to life 3-dimensionally, and to create the story behind it, and also help with the vision. You know, like where can we take this? So my background, I'm very heavy into emerging technologies. I love the future of tech. Virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, machine learning, you know, metaverse. It's something that I'm really big on. I'm a sci-fi fan. I'm a gamer. I'm a kid at heart. So that's just my bag. And so they brought me on to kind of help out with that side of things. I'm trying to think where you want me to go with this. You had a question about the hockey stick growth.
Right. Yeah. Everything that's happened in the past 3 months. What's that been like for you guys internally?
It's humbling. You know, we're still getting started. So to see that people believe in our project this early on is just absolutely amazing. And, you know, credit goes to the Doofys, the Poseidons, the Ponies, you know, the people who buy in and are the voice of the community. That is what we're building. Like, I'm very big on, I know, you know, it's the hard thing is building a great community. And so that's what we're building. And we're building an ecosystem for them to thrive in. You know, I'm very big on we want to get these Genesis racehorses sold. We want to get them out there so the community and the ecosystem can evolve. And we just got to be there to maintain and make sure that it's done right, that the regulations and the laws of Zed Universe all adhere. So everybody has an equal playing field. You know, we really want people, you know, Doofy and Poseidon, they're ahead of the game, right? But are they? Somebody could come in tomorrow and still get a horse and be smart about and get up there with him. So, you know, I'm just saying your throne's not safe, boys.
Good boys, Jason. They've been doing their work. Don't worry. I know Zook's coming for the title as well.
I see. You see, and that's what we want. We want people to come in and be a part and not feel like they're far behind. You know, like that's really important for a thriving ecosystem. That there's a fair play involved. It's exciting, and you know, we're building as we go. We're listening to the community. Like, it's really important. And, you know, Poseidon, Doofy, and everybody here, you guys share your opinions. You know, if you're sharing them on Twitter or wherever on Discord, we're listening. That stuff gets fed back to us, and we take that stuff. I was going to say that shit, but that stuff seriously. We take it really seriously. Yeah, I'm allowed to swear more that I live in Australia.
You're allowed to swear in this show.
Yeah.
I had a question for you, just because I just learned who you were recently, and I was just on the Clubhouse, and someone was telling me about, like, you did some awesome stuff before. Could you just tell us some of the things you did? They were talking about the animation and things you were doing.
Yeah. So my career, you know, started back in, you know, I was a drawer. I was a graffiti kid, liked drawing characters growing up as a kid. And when I came to Australia, so I'm originally from Denmark, Copenhagen, and you know, my passion in life was basketball for many years. I played at a high level in Europe, in Copenhagen. And when I found out I wasn't that great, you know, I was great enough to make a great team, but I wasn't great enough to make money. I kind of pulled back on that, and then I kind of lost myself maybe a little bit too much in the, you know, the sex, drugs, and rock and roll and having fun, you know, like being youth. And I moved. My dad's Aussie, but I was born and raised and I always had the opportunity to go back to Australia having a passport. So one of my mates moved out here for a job, and he said, "Come with me," and I said, "Okay," packed my shit and I left. So I ended up, you know, in Sydney, in an apartment in King's Cross, mind you. Way to get away from that scene to go into that scene. So King's Cross is, if you look up King's Cross, it was notorious. It's a fun place to be. But you know, luckily enough, I met my wife. You know, I think we were a month in, and I was at the right time. You know, looking for love. I had been looking for love in all the wrong places before that, and apparently I found it. And
she calmed you down a little bit.
She calmed me down. And I found out leaving, you know, I stepped out of that whirlwind, which was my place of birth, and I was able to I had time now for myself. And lo and behold, I got introduced to 3D animation. I was sketching, I was doing some sketches, and somebody said, "Hey, you should do animation." I'm like, fuck, man, I don't know how to use a computer other than watching basketball games or, you know, downloading music from Napster. That's about it. And the other stuff that we use it for. So, but then I got introduced to that. And I did a course, and man, I fell in love with 3D. And so then I went in, and I was lucky enough to work for one of the biggest companies down here called Animal Logic. I got an internship through them, which did my first movie was working on Knowing, which Nicolas Cage, if you know that movie, worked on not Moulin Rouge, Australia, which was a great Australian movie. Legends of
Hugh Jackman, is that that one?
Yeah, exactly. Guardians of Ga'Hoole, the Owl movie, Zack Snyder's animated movie. That was a big step in my career as an animator. And then went on to Happy Feet 2 with George Miller, who's actually he's recently just announced they're doing Mad Max again with the big, what's the guy called, Chris Hemsworth, which is exciting. It's going to bring a lot of money and jobs to Australia. So a new Mad Max with Thor. I got to work with George Miller on Happy Feet 2, which is, you know, not the greatest movie.
Good animation, though. Good animation.
Yeah, look, and that's the thing. I actually just had a conversation with one of our artists that we're, you know, like, it's all about, it doesn't matter if the job's not the greatest. It's about getting your experience and building your repertoire up and actually, you know, building up experience. And so from that, then the Lego movies came to Australia as well, right? They got done here, and that was really where I kickstarted my career as an animator and a creative. And we got to do the Lego movie, the first one, the Lego Batman movie, Lego Ninjago movies, and you know, then I did some cinematics, some games, and I've just done a lot of shit now for 15 years, and that put me in a position to build an academy with a university here in Sydney called the Animal Logic UTS Academy, where we focus on creating talent, and the focus really is not the, you know, reading books and learning theory and all this shit. It's like I'm not that kind of guy. I'm a learning by doing guy. So I got put in place to set up an academy where it was a learning by doing structure. You know, experience is your best teacher. And we ran it like a real studio, and so we pumped students in one end, you know, the first month, and 11 months later they walked into jobs in the industry, and that was the whole premise. And then we also got to innovate within VR, AR, mixed reality, and all this new tech spaces, because it wasn't just about what can we do now. You know, we can make games now, we can make animations for TV and for video, but where can we translate these skills and competencies to the new mediums that are coming out, which are, you know, coming out at force. And, you know, it's only, I keep saying you got to wait till Apple releases its mixed reality glasses, which will be soon. And once the consumers get their hands on it, you know, then there'll be a call for products to be made there. And you know, we at VHS are aware of that. And we, you know, our focus is on Zed, but that's where I want to take Zed to. Like, I'm very, you know, you don't talk to me about some of the breeding algorithms and race algorithms. I understand enough to get by in press, but you need to talk to Jeff. Talk to Doofy about that. Poseidon, they know more than me on that side. But if you want to talk to me about the vision and the metaverse, where we want to take this as an emotional, connecting, interactive experience, that's my bag, and that's where I want to go, and I want to make these horses real. I want
to like every time you have this 30-second, 60-second,
it goes
vision,
for 10 minutes.
I reckon there's a lot of people here who in the chat by the looks of it who are fresh to Zed, and
okay,
I just like to sit back and hear this. For those who haven't heard it before, it's epic. Can you talk about it?
So I'll go on the record and I'll say Zed is real. It's a universe that really exists. I believe that because that makes my job easy, right? So it's a parallel universe to ours. It's using the quantum physics analogies, theories. Much like Spider-Verse, much like Rick and Morty, and what that ability gives us is to create massive worlds. And so Zed exists on a parallel timeline to ours on an Earth much like ours, but it's called Novus Earth, which means New Earth, and it's set in 2150. And in this timeline and in this Earth, digital horse racing reigns supreme. And digital horse racing has been put in place to, for the young, the unwealth, and it's kind of balanced the scales of inequality in the wealth, much like crypto is doing, right? So we're just taking what cryptocurrency is doing today, it's empowering, people who thought they would be Uber drivers all their life to actually rise above, and we're gamifying that aspect. We're using that technology with NFTs to be able to give people an entertaining, interactive way of creating wealth, and with machine learning, with advances in technology, we can make this feel real. Now, I will go on and disclaim that we do have to be aware and be balanced. We don't want to run into this. As much as I love Ready Player One and I love the vision, we still have to be in touch with reality.
He's still a Pixar guy.
Huh?
Still a Pixar guy.
Oh, look, I love Pixar too. I love every animation.
Right.
Yeah, Pixar story is key, man. That's the thing. Story is key to any of their, and that's what we want to generate. That's what I've been working hard behind the scenes on, is as well this story of Zed, and like I said, I have to believe in it to make it real and to talk about it, And like, I haven't mentioned this. Maybe I've mentioned this to ZG. I think I mentioned it to you, Doofy. But Poseidon, you will have a place in Novus Earth. Our community has a place in there. So all those brands we see popping up and stuff like that, it's gonna come back into the lore, into the story, because that's key. It gives me goosebumps saying that, because I think that is such a fucking cool thing in terms of what you give to us comes back in. You are creating this community, right? So that's important for us to honor that, and I think that's super cool as well. I haven't seen a concept do that to the extent that we want to do it, So that's exciting.
Can I just say something that you picked up then, really, which is really funny, Ebs, as well.
Yeah,
I shit you not. About a week to 2 weeks before Zed kicked off, and I started making this my sort of full-time job, I started Uber driving part-time to pay some bills, right?
Amen.
I did 19 rides, and then it just absolutely blew up, and I realized I've got to stop Uber driving and focus more on Zed again. But
I didn't even know that, bro. But because I was having a conversation with I'm trying to get my neighbors to invest in some crypto, because why not? If you got money worth losing right now, put it into some fucking Ethereum or something like that, man. Because
for sure,
shit, come on, man. Like, yeah, and I mean, hey, I'm biased, and I'm not here to give you financial advice. I'm not here to give you financial advice, but I know what Ethereum's done for me since I got in, and I know what we're able to do with that platform. So yeah, and I was talking to him because he was saying his brother-in-law was an Uber driver, and he's just making bank on crypto. So it's not because I knew your story, Doofy, but it's awesome that you had the same journey, and it's awesome that you go Pony. Sorry.
What I was going to say is, and I say this a lot, and it kind of echoes what you just said, is horse racing in the real world is a game for kings, where I think Zed and horse racing in Novus Earth is a game to make kings.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that that was the story behind it, to be honest. But it's so interesting that I just came to that feeling organically. It really is tipping the scales. And before you came on, I was talking about people that I met in this community that come from a world where they feel a little left behind, but because of a horse that they got on a drop, or a lucky horse where they got equivalent value that now is soaring up the leaderboards, or just from being part of a community where their work is finally being respected for the first time, it really is tipping the scales. And it's nice to hear that the person behind it has that vision as well. And then my second thing is, through calling these horse races and saying these names over and over and over again, you start to really see the story of these horses developing. And when you say the story is slowly being written, I say that to people in the Discord. These people don't even understand that the horse rivalries that are being made now are
legends.
Are horse rivalries that I don't know what the future is gonna hold. But let's say the horses don't have to retire and they can race forever if that's what you guys decide. These are rivalries that I'm going to be having. My kids are going to be having. Their kids are going to be having. Like, I know Burger Kill and my buddy who owns Silly Samwise, they have a rivalry. My buddy Bob from Award Racing, he owns Aurora Star and I own Ambassador. They have a rivalry. So these are things that part of the story that's being created is people don't even understand what's going on right now.
And story is key, and story will write itself. Story is time, and that's absolutely it. And we just want to supplement that. And that like, fuck, I love seeing what's happening. Like, I love what ZG's doing. I love what Doofy's doing. I love what Poseidon's doing. Like, I love what you guys are doing with the Pony Plug and all that shit. Like, I even got an insight to some of the stuff that's going behind the scenes, and just being able to enable community, like, that's power, and that's. That speaks to the decentralization of what crypto is able to do as well. And I think we as founders, and now I speak, you say it's not just me, it's a team, right? And it's teamwork that makes it, teamwork makes the dream work. It's cheesy, but it's true. There is no I in team. And, we're founders, and us, the Zed team itself, we're more than just that. We're the community as well. Like, it's everyone. So yeah. We just excited. If I can see people making money out of Zed and we don't touch that, fucking awesome. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure. That's one of the reasons why I got this group together specifically. This is a great group of guys, and they all give back to the community. They're not just guys that are just sitting there hoarding everything and not sharing everything. Everybody's giving back. So here's a question that was posed, and I'd like for you to answer, and anybody else can jump in too. But it's a legitimate question for new people jumping in.
Yeah. Question for the group. How do we ensure the game isn't dominated by only Z1, Z2 expensive Horde Plus? Well, I think we're seeing that already. I mean, I think we're seeing Z10s run races, run tracks. What do you say? Run circles, even though we're a straight line. Run circles around Z1s and Z2s. Like, Z1s and Z2s are going to always be, coveted just because of the rarity of them. But it's what's inside the box that matters, and you got to unpack that, and you got to figure out where that stands. Now, you got the most experienced racing team here and breeders here, so I'm not even going into details. You don't even, my wife has a stable. I get to race those donkeys, and they fucking suck. I don't know how to win.
Wait, real quick.
I don't think it's even a thing now. Like, I wouldn't say that Z1s and Z2s are dominating the platform. They may be competing on a high level at C1. There's 4 other classes.
Yeah.
And there's constantly Z10s beating Z1s. There's bred horses beating Z1s. Ducky Mellon's a Z4. I've said this before. I picked her up for a few $100, albeit months ago. But, if you look at where we are right now, where we're going to go into the future, you can buy these horses now relatively cheap to where they're going to be. And Z10s are $106, right? Yes, there's a low rate of getting these horses that compete. Zombie Boy is one of the people's horses.
That's what I was going to ask you.
I got Zook going crazy.
Wait, is Zombie Boy really a Z10?
Yes, and that's what people don't understand.
Really the people's champ.
That's
If
what
you
people
look
don't understand. The legends
wait up.
and the stories
2 seconds.
that are told are going to be from Z10s, from Z50s, from Z100s, from horses that you didn't expect to be champions. It's Z1s and Z2s. Like Jack is saying in the chat, most of them suck racing. It's just racing is such a lottery shot.
There's only been 2,500, I think, Z10s that have been dropped. There's still 75% of Z10s to be dropped. We have sold out of 75% of Z1s. I think it's even maybe 85%. So if you look at how many horses are actually on the platform, there are so many opportunities for future Z10s to compete with these Z1s. If you look at how many horses are actually in the network right now. And I think that's going to be super exciting because once we get these Genesis horses out there in the next week or two, month or two, and they're all out on the platform, I reckon we're going to have a heap of, a couple hundred Z10s that are actually competing at that top level.
And don't forget either. We barely unlocked all the attributes, right? Like that's still to come. Fatigue's still going to play a game. I'm gonna throw a couple of things out here, but wind speeds, running against wind, altitude, track type, track surfaces. There's a lot that needs to go into this game that mimics the real world, and we want to have that familiarity. And like I said, we're just getting started. We're just blessed that we're having this hockey stick growth, but we ask that the people be patient because we're not going to rush out and money grab. We want to do it right. We're going to do it diligently. We're going to do it the right way, and we're always going to do it community facing. We want to know these Poseidon and Doofy and ZG, they've all had a say in where we are today. We've all asked them and the people, our members, what they think. So we don't go out and just change shit for the sake of changing shit. We really care about the longevity of this. So I hope that answers the question.
How do you guys come up with the names of the horses?
Yeah, I micro drip a bit much more, and then I just go no. Nah. Look, we actually just share a sheet around internally, and we just come up with names. And I always go back to look. I've been looking at album covers. You just look, and even if I'm hearing something from like I can sit in front and watch a TV show, and then you hear a sentence. I'll write it down. Like you'll hear like 3 words in a line, you write it down. And of course, we've got a big team and we've got some crazy Aussies on the team too. So there's some fun names that come around. So that's good fun. Yeah.
Oh man, one of my buddies, he got a horse called Straight Out of Compton.
Yeah.
That was he had an NBA player asking about that horse.
Yeah, but that's it, right? Names of value, man. And there's people out there naming their horses really smart as well. Like they're thinking about who might want a horse like that,
For sure.
I hope my cap doesn't give away where Straight Out of Compton came from. Not that this is Compton, this is East Side, but
I can't escape it. Even with all this international flavor, I can't escape the New York sports scene. I can't escape it.
Yeah, well, it's more the Woo. It's the Woo.
You got the Woo. I do see the Woo.
Oh.
That is a sweet Yankees hat with the Wu-Tang symbol. I like that.
I know it's custom.
Here's a question. I think this is a good question. I think this guy, yes, he can compete, right?
If I bring 1,000, can I compete and have fun for it? Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Anybody with any budget can compete in this game as long as
we got free races.
I don't know what the minimum horse is going for right now, but if you meet that, any horse can be a champion in this game, depending on if it meets the factors now, or like Eb said, it could meet the factors later. It also depends what you want. Not all horses are going to be champion horses, but you can be a profitable horse in your class. And you know what? If you're just looking for some fun on a weekend night with some friends and you have a horse that breaks out even or even costs you a little bit of ETH every weekend, but you don't get in trouble, so be it. Like that, there's so many different avenues to talk about in this game. And even if the money may be saturated and pushed towards the big corporate events on the Atari track or whatever, I think the higher percentage of people involved will be, the people that get the stables that are looking to do that. and that's okay. And I think that there's definitely a place in the metaverse to own a horse that it's not your full-time job, but it is part of your income or part of your hobbies or part of your collectibles in some way.
Yeah. Look, it's no different than being a Twitch streamer, man. Like the more time you put into Twitch streaming and you hustle there, you can make money. But if you just want to go in and stream once a week or twice a week and just meet community and have fun with it, then you can make a little. You might get a subscription here and there. You might get a couple dollars. Like I do some streaming with my son, or we have a little account and we started that little venture. It's less now than I'm busy, but I think it's fun just I learn a lot from that community and how that works, and you can take that into to what we're building with Zed, and it's similar. And I think you have to talk to Doofy and Poseidon. They've got the horses for sale. I don't know what the market rate is, or you got to be lucky on one of our drops. Coming soon is all I can say. But so buying horses around 105, 110 bucks for a Z10 if you're lucky to get one from a drop. And I don't know what these guys are selling on the side, but there's also, people have bred horses and you can gift horses. I've got my wife to breed some horses so I could give them to our neighbors so they can see what all the fuss is about. You know what I mean? Like, that's cool too. Nice. I've heard stories about people giving horses to get people involved, lending them it for 2 days. I think Lucky Jack would lent a horse or 2 horses to somebody, and they got to play the game, and I want in, and then they sent the horses back. So there's this, like anything, if I was going to lend you the keys to my car, I'd expect you to give them back after a while. But there's trust involved. It's like the real world. And just on your point, Pony, Zook, do everything responsibly. Do everything fucking responsibly. Like, we're not here. I would hate to hear the story about the person who went all in and lost his house because of fucking Zed racing. Like, that's not what we're here for. We're here for the other reasons. We're here to build up. You know what I mean? Like, watch out, Zook. No, but like, you know what I mean? Like, so it comes with self-monitoring, regulation, balance. That's key in life for everything. So I just think,
So I'm really curious. You talked about Novus Earth and how you see this whole new world being created in the metaverse. And I've been starting to catch on to that slowly myself as well. And I'm curious, for example, right, I've seen the ZAR app, and that's awesome. And I saw a tweet with the little girl in the kitchen with her family, and she's feeding the virtual horse. And so I really am curious what you see as far as like these possibilities within the quote unquote Zedrun long term.
Yeah, don't get me started. Like, what the Tamagotchi did back in the 90s, right? People were crying when these little devices died in their pocket, right? Like, that's how simple we are as humans in terms of connecting. We are very simple machines. Like, I think Matrix is a perfect example in Morpheus's quote. If we can, we got 5 senses. If you can see it, you can smell it, you can touch it, you can taste it, you can hear it, then it's real, right? With technology today, you got VR, you can see it, you got haptic feedback, you can feel it. I've done tests with taste and smell machines at the university I worked at. Shit becomes real, right? Like, where are we? So the possibilities are there, and they're going to be even more enhanced and present for the consumers as technology advances, as Apple sends shit out and people consume, as et cetera, et cetera. You only have to look backwards to see where we're going. And with that, like, I love the fact of bringing these horses to life. I think it would be so cool to, again, with the whole Novus Earth, reason why they're on a parallel timeline. You use the AR app, you're teleporting it into you have a portal that your horse is coming through into your world. You jump into VR, you'll be sent through a portal into your stable in that world. Maybe you'll be able to walk around and go to the bar or whatever, let's see where we can go with this stuff. But again, balance and remember, there is a reality. As much as we know, this is the reality we know. I don't want to go into that discussion because that's fun as well, but yeah, so the endless opportunity to make it real. Like, the next iteration would be, so we got an AR app, and you can walk your horse down the beach or walk it down the street. You can change its color. You can put your hand in front of it, and there's this occlusion technology on latest phones that make your hand come in front, which looks cool. It's not perfected yet. The next step is having interaction, being able to pat it, feed it, wash it, bathe it. have it react to you, add some machine learning algorithms or triggers that when you haven't visited it for 2 weeks, it reacts differently. Maybe it fades in color. Maybe it's lost shape and size. There's simple game mechanics that you could put in to create and enhance this emotional connection between you and a digital asset, which I find very fascinating, and scary at the same time. So yeah.
So can we have those interactions weighted so that if you're interacting positively with the horse often, it might perform with
better?
a slightly different weighting on the track?
Come on, man. I would love that. I would love that. But again, we have to make sure that that fits into the gamified aspect. And so the person who just keeps feeding his horse digital carrots and bathing it in a virtual world doesn't have too big an advantage. But there's other ways. I even see, I think that's really cool. And it's definitely something that we would be discussing. But I also just see it right now as just a thing. People are already connected to their horses. They're already you're finding it hard to sell because she's performed so well for you on the track, or she's done something right. So already there, you're connected, and this is just adding layers to that connection and making you even more feel like this thing is real. And I think that's exciting. And again, I'll always say scary at the same time.
Someone had a question before you got on about the people that don't love their horses, turning them into glue and getting something in return for that. Do you guys have anything for that in the future?
Yeah. Definitely, we got stuff planned up our sleeves for that. But I'm not going to disclose that, at all. But definitely, there was a document in the circling. Doofy would have raised the Poseidon about our own, staking token, Des. There's going to be there's huge roadmap behind the scenes being planned, which is really, really exciting. That goes back into the whole infrastructure and economy or the ecosystem. So, you guys are rewarded fairly and justly for time put in and for gaming. And it's something that, I don't think we're seeing anywhere. And I think we're at a stage where we're able, we're already, quote unquote, pioneering something, right? But I think we are able to innovate and pioneer further into a really interesting space that's going to empower our users and user base. So look, the donkeys are well known, we do joke about the VR game where the VR game where you walk out the back and you get to say goodbye with a gun. But no, let's not go there. We'll get the VR stable breeding experience first, hey.
Man.
But no, let's not go there either. So, but no, in short, yes, we are looking at that. But I think also as the ecosystem grows and events, classes are going to grow, there's going to be room for all racing. There's going to be room for all classes. And with custom, quote unquote, custom events, if you can assign your own lobby, you can have a donkey race party, Who's got the best donkey? There's going to be ways that these things are going to have utility for sure. And it's all ahead. It's all very exciting.
Nice.
Yeah.
I would like to just to say, to the question, the earlier question I proposed, or I brought up was someone asked $1,000, could you get in?
Yeah.
I would just say on the last drop, I got lucky and I got 2 Z9s, I think for $150 each, and
Wow.
then I bred them into another horse, and that horse, it cost me like $40 to breed, and that horse, it's a class 5, but I won like $800 in like a week and a half off that horse. That's pretty damn good to me. I already made back my money like times 3 almost.
Yeah, and it's from playing a game. I love it. Not only did you make money, but you were entertained. The emotional roller coaster it took you on through every race. I think I love seeing those videos pop up when people are losing or winning or just winning at the last. It's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, we won't talk about my 18-hour session that I had.
I think just to add to that point, I think it's important that you don't get too stuck on looking back. I mean, if you look back too far, you'll notice that you might have been able to buy Z1s for 2 ETH or 1 ETH or even as far back as half an ETH. When me and Doofy came in, you could pick up Z1s around 4 ETH and as low as maybe 2, maybe 1.5. And if I had a look back and thought, well, the original investors were getting them at 0.4 or 0.5 an ETH, maybe they'll come back there, then I may not have moved at all. And if we consider that we still might be really, really early, it kind of depends on where you think we are, I suppose.
Yeah.
If you think we're peaking already, then maybe you need to wait a little bit longer. But if you think we're very early, like most of us here think we're still pretty early, then, you know, you need to jockey and move and make some trades and get into a position and buy those horses that you're comfortable with, I suppose. And
it's no different than looking at crypto scene, right? Like, oh,
Yeah.
I wish I'd bought in fucking 2012. Yeah, I think we all do. It's like no
100%.
brainer, right? But we didn't. But buying in now is still in crypto. I mean, come on, like 98% of the world don't even know what cryptocurrency is, man. Like, it's so new. And so you get in today, you're still in front of the next 500,000 getting in next month. You know what I mean? In terms of crypto. In terms of
a $100 Genesis is like a $20 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's
and
get
who
some
knows
more.
what Dez can be worth? Like,
Yeah.
is that what it is? Dez for every Genesis horse you own, you get Dez.
Yeah, well, look, it's still
is?
being mapped out. I'm not gonna. Yeah. But it's gonna be a in-game currency. There's gonna be a tokenomics around it. There's gonna be some there's a white paper floating around somewhere, which was early days, which we shared with the community to get feedback, and we shared with investors and stuff. So that's still still in the making. But yeah, I'm not gonna go and talk about that. But that's what I mean. There is gonna be this currency in play that's gonna reward you.
You don't have to.
No, yeah. Don't get me in trouble.
Jason, you got any more questions to bring up for the roundtable?
No, I'm just saying for the people out there flipping.
Breaking up?
I think I'm breaking up.
Yeah. You're good.
All right. If anybody else in the chat in the queue have questions for Ebbs here before we conclude this puppy, been going for an hour and a half. It's been an amazing discussion. I love that everybody.
I'm happy I could just jump in at the end there.
Ebbs,
I was stuck.
when are we gonna do the Atari tournament? And is breeding
Soon
with the studs still prior to the tournament, or is it how's that going?
Yeah, that's all up in that's still up for discussion right now. That's still being worked on. But Atari tournament, trust me, it's coming. And when breeding is coming, and when drop is coming.
Keep an eye on Fred, right?
Look, yeah, keep an eye on Fred. He might tell you more. He already drops images that I didn't know we could drop. But look, like I said, it comes back to us being patient as well. Like, we want to do it right. We're not in a rush. We don't need to be in a rush. Yes, we understand there's momentum that needs to be adhered to, and as a business, you got to keep fueling the flames. But at the same time, we also are long term, looking at this very, very long term, not just short term. What we can get tomorrow. It's what we can do. Where's Zed 20 years from now? And that's important to us. So that's yeah. We look. Ask away. I'll just never give away anything. I hope.
You mentioned that you're trying to get the Genesis horses out into the stables and sort of decentralize it and everything else, which is great. One of the biggest things of Atari was that there's going to be 20 special skin horses.
Yeah, bro.
Is this going to be the one and only partnership if all of the Genesis horses are then released, or is there any sort of idea on keeping some sort of on ice for future partnerships?
Yeah, there's so many partnership discussions right now, man.
Cool.
I can only that's as much as I can say, and there's some amazing opportunity, which is really exciting. But yeah, that's every day. Like I said, we're
that's cool.
yeah. Atari is I'm big on Atari. I think I'm wearing an Atari T-shirt, to be honest, underneath here. Right, let me just rock that shit out. Hey,
there you go, classic.
And that's way before we even had this. Because I'm a gamer at heart, man. I know what the 8-bit Nintendo did for me, and Atari and the Commodore Amigas before that. I was a gamer, so yeah. It's humbling to see who wants to be a part, and all I can say is some exciting things coming up, man. Really.
What is the Atari tournament?
So we got a partnership with Atari. It's gonna be our foundation for events, which are tournaments, and basically there's gonna be an Atari themed racetrack. There's some images out there, which could be outdated by now, but there's some images out there on how that might look. And then there'll be a racing tournament based around that track. How the format is, I cannot disclose at the moment. But you could imagine it could be a bracket tournament, or it could be over a week of who places higher, et cetera, et cetera. And then there will be rewards, not only the buy-in in terms of the financial Ethereum payback, but also Atari tokens as well. And so it'll be partnered and sponsored by Atari. And in terms of the skins as well, that's an exciting foundation, especially for me. We've been designing these skins again. There's you can see them on the internet. I like to drop little Easter eggs every now and then of other things that happen. If you're in Discord, I try to drop images in there just to kind of tease, but also just to show that there's something's brewing on the back end, and I'll do that on Twitter as well. New tracks, but the new the skins are cool because they're gonna be rare. It's where we merge art, the NFT art space, with our horses. I always looked at our horses as an empty canvas. So anything's possible. You want to put that Cardinals Murray jersey on a horse in the background, perhaps we could. Or that. Who's number 3 for Nuggets, man? Who's number 3? Is
that Gary Harris? Is that a Gary Harris?
No, it's an old Allen Iverson jersey.
Hey, okay. There you go. Yeah, nice. I could see, but you could brand the horses and teams. And like the vision again is you own Ducky Malone and he's kicking ass and people are tuning in to view his races. Why wouldn't somebody hit up Doofy and say, yo, I want a piece of his ass. I want to put my logo on his ass, or I want to own, I want to brand him, and then Doofy's there, and then we got track ownership coming up as well. There's so much opportunity, guys. Yeah. There's so much. It's so exciting. But again, just be patient with us, because like I can go on the Northern Star roadmap. Like, what does Nirvana for Zed look like? And that's all fine and done. But to get there, it takes work and takes time, and we're growing. So.
Any thoughts on like not branding as in companies, but actual like branding the hind of the horse from the or even the chest of the horse from the stable?
From the stable owner.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. You get virtual reality branding.
Yeah.
Horse, I can brand it so I can sell it, but that's a Doofy racing horse, like for forever sort of thing.
It's interesting. But can I then put another skin over it if I want to and cover it up?
No. Just like in real life, the brand's there forever.
Well, see, this is digital, right?
Yeah.
And it's decentralized. And it's digital. So that's it. It's interesting. Like that's something to discuss. That's something to brainstorm, and I think that's exciting. I like the idea, but then I also like the idea of saying, well, are we free to do with what we want with that afterwards? If I own it, it's my asset. Like, can I?
This is that we can remove the Atari skin.
Yeah, well, look, the idea is that the skins will be replaceable and can be taken out and resold. So you might get a Z2 whatever it is horse with the Atari skin, but then you're able to decide whether you keep the two together. And imagine the stories that can go on with this one. So I decide I'm selling that skin, and I sell the horse separately. But now that horse goes away in its own little ecosystem. And then that goes away, and then you pick it up, NFT God, and you go, I got the horse, man. I really want to bring it back to the skin. And then you go on a hunt and you bring him back. And that whole journey and narrative behind that could be fucking cool and create value.
Story, yeah.
The story creates value. Let's not forget that. Like, a $2 Michael Jordan, it's printed $2 Michael Jordan card is worth $500,000 because of what he was able to do on the floor and story. And the Banksy, which is a stenciled painting on a canvas, which is probably a $1 print, if anything, a $2 print of paints, is worth its 40 million because of the lore and the story behind him. So that's the explanation when it comes to NFTs and people like don't getting it. You just point at the art world and say, well, what? Like, it's no different.
I would like to see the custom race intros and like our own 12-second, theme songs playing.
Dude.
Stage lighting and.
Dude, okay, so we got the intros, right? They're there for a reason. Now, if you look at that at a foundational level, imagine owning your own NFT animation that only you have, or it's a rare animation that your horse will do at that intro. Imagine being able to customize your sound, like "Let's get ready to rumble." You own that track that you can play in your little 3 seconds of fame, and then the winning animation at the end as well. Like let's look at Fortnite, right? They're doing it. They're doing all that stuff. Look at any other game out there. They're doing it, but they just don't have the power of NFT behind it to.
I had a Wu-Tang.
really
I had a
push it.
Wu-Tang. I had a Wu-Tang song picked out with that on the intro. Let's get ready to rumble.
Yeah, nice. So yeah, look, there and again, therein lies some interesting partnerships with us to collaborate with musicians, to collaborate with original race callers or legendary announcers, or there's so much opportunity to cross brand and create something which is just truly unique but customizable as well for the user. The more you can customize your horse or your intro, the more emotionally engaged you are, the stronger the connection. It comes back to that. I know how much my son loves his Fortnite skin collection, and I know how much it's cost me, and I can't get that money back. And with NFTs, you can get that money back and some.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's you truly own an asset.
Yeah, the Robux are yours now.
Yeah, Roblox the same. They're not yours.
So one idea that we had, and I don't know if
Yeah, the
Zedrun has
Roblox
already.
for Fortnite, man. Oh, they spent so much on it.
So one thing that we had thought of, and I don't know if Zedrun has already considered this idea, is not only a merchandising strategy for the real world with shirts and hats and all this stuff that could potentially be for specific horses or specific stables, but what about also this idea of, like you said, skins and merchandising for the virtual world as well?
Most def, man. Just like Decentraland will be an interesting one there. One thing I really love about what we're able to do. So we're building ZHQ in Decentraland. It's going to be like this hot pot of NFT community. It's going to be, it's going to have our horses. It's going to have racing, but more importantly, it's going to be a communal area for the NFT in the greater crypto space. Like, it's designed to be more than that. We'll have a gallery where you can display NFT arts. If let's just say if Top Shots wants to put some of their cool stuff that could be displayed there, if if people wanted to display work there and sell it through us, he could. I'm just, again, none of that is on the cards. It's just where my brain goes, and I'm just letting you in. So there's opportunity there, and then of course, like, let's say we have an event at the DCL. Let's say we have a grand opening event, and we got some famous DJ or musician avatar playing there. You come, you hang out, you meet other cool people, you hear the music. You might be his first NFT album drop. Who knows? And then you want to be able to prove you were at that event. Well, you might have a ticket that you have as an NFT, which you can keep, and that will have value. People collect tickets and stubs and stuff, which is interesting, and for good reason, because let's say you were at the game that Kobe dropped 81. That ticket stub is now worth a lot. So in that case, you go to a concert. When you go to let's say I go to a Wu-Tang concert, I want to get the T-shirt that says I went to that concert. I can only buy it at the concert. So now you can sell merch in that way through your avatars. Could that merch? So when you buy it in DCL, do you then also get sent a real T-shirt to bring in that tangible? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's fucking cool what we can do. It's endless. That's what the metaverse is. It's endless. It's digital. It's what we can do in reality on millions of times a million. You can fly. You can be the person you always wanted to be. Again, come back to Ready Player One. Like that. That's a book which I read in 2 days. The movie's amazing. It just looks graphically absolutely astonishing. I know a lot of people who worked on it, and it's just, I'm a diehard fan of that movie. I can watch it again and again just because of the level of detail of digital finesse that's gone into it. But the world building and where they take you as a story is endless. It's endless. And that's again, it's exciting, but it's scary. Make sure you come out of that VR headset, walk into the bush, as we do in Australia. Go for a bushwalk, jump into the ocean. Make sure you meet people and touch their face. That they're there, and make sure you're alive as well. I think that's really important. So. Yeah. So merch is. Oh, here goes Siri. Merch is
sure. I'm gonna go
definitely
watch
part of
that
it.
movie tonight.
Oh, please do. It's fucking amazing. And yeah, look, I look forward to Doofy selling merch and Poseidon selling merch from fans that they have, and having seeing the Ducky Malone T-shirt and merch, and like Gazette merch, ZG merch. Like the opportunities are there, and I think as we grow, and if we can sustain this growth and this community. This powerful community that we have behind us, and as long as they support us and we support them, I think we can go far.
You mentioned the potential for an art gallery. I'm thinking Zedrun Hall of Fame with highlight reels of the best kicks.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah. No. Hall of Fame. I mean, when leaderboards come into play, a legends board. Zedrun will have horses on display, and we've designed it not just like a stable, it's like a fancy car show, like they're rotating on these fucking beautiful kind of stages, and you walk around your avatar and, well, fuck, there's Ducky Malone if Ducky chooses to show his face, or there's Zombie Boy if Zombie Boy chooses to say yes. And we hope that you guys, and when we invite you to display your horses, that you'll be like, yeah, fuck yeah, we'd love to do that, because it brings attention to you and your stable, and it brings attention to what you're doing, and so it's that, it's that karma, right? Yin and yang, it just flows, right? Good, scratching each other's backs and just keep going until we reach the moon and beyond.
Get some virtual horse autographs going.
Hey, yeah, fuck, maybe that. I don't know how that one I'm gonna think about. That one I'm gonna think about.
Everyone. It's getting close to 2 hours here. I'm gonna wrap it up pretty soon here, but I want to do a couple of things before we wrap it up. First, I want to say to Ebbs, we cannot wait for you to design these loop-de-doop, like upside down horse racing things, because we know they're gonna come. I mean, you can do anything with this, right? So that's gonna be, you're gonna do this, and it's all gonna be in VR too, right? So we can look at this stuff in VR, just like a roller coaster.
I want you riding your own horse in VR, man.
For everybody else, that'd be awesome. I would love that.
Yeah.
But I weigh a little bit more than other guys. I don't want that weight to slow down my horse.
No. It's virtual, bro.
And also,
you can be who you want to be.
Anybody on here, if you guys come out with your own, just make me like that little dude in GoldenEye, where you Odd Job, you couldn't ever shoot the guy because he's so little, weighs nothing.
Hey, speaking my language.
Yeah, that's who. Yep, Odd Job. And then, oh, dude, I've been going back to Atari. I want the thing with the Space Invaders, man. That's like I love Space Invaders. I did as a kid. It's like my first game I ever played.
Yeah.
Way back in the day. I'm old. I'm 41, guys. So this is going back to when I was like 3-4 years old.
That's good. I'm catching
also,
up.
If anybody here comes out with their own,
sorry.
Go ahead, Jason.
Also, if anybody else here comes out with your own merch, I will definitely buy a sweatshirt from you guys. Anybody here? I'm sure I'm lagging.
All right, we are.
I'll let Russ.
Yeah, we're struggling with lag.
If you guys come out with your own merch, I will buy you a sweat. Wear one on every one of my shows.
All right, guys. Really appreciate everyone coming out.
Have everybody do a thing. I'll type it.
Yeah. Jason, mute your mic, man. All right, here we go. I appreciate everyone coming out tonight. Ebbs, Zed Gazette, NFTs Anonymous, Poseidon, Doofy, GG, PZ, everyone for joining the discussion. It was a lot of fun. 2 hours of just insight going into Zedrun and this community that is blowing up, burgeoning, and we are ready to watch it all happen in real time. So thank you, everyone. Big thanks to everybody on the YouTube chat And we will be back once again next week. Same time, same place, right here for Limited Edition.